So this is our casual summer start time. It's going to be a very laid-back service today. The main thing is to be able to keep cool and refreshed. Fans, these are strategically located through the sanctuary, so you may want to have one of these in reach. This was a new addition last year to our Unitarian culture, summer culture, and it has really caught on. It's become essential. So we're not doing bulletins again today. This is our summer, laid-back summer approach, and saving paper and ink costs at the same time. So I'll guide you through the service and we'll follow along. This is an open pulpit service. So if you have anything to share, think about it during the service. After the offering, we'll be doing some open pulpit sharing. There's no theme today. It can be eclectic, wide span, no limitations on what your heart might want to share on this beautiful summer Sunday in July. The cherry tree is full, ripe, and the fruit is lush. So we have a few on the altar this morning. So during coffee hour, you'll have to go outside. I hope you brought a container with you to pick some cherries on the lower branches. We leave the higher parts of the tree for the birds of the air to hold them in. Or if you have a ladder. So, our prelude this morning it's another NPR tiny desk concert, and it's a quartet with Yo-Yo Ma on cello, Chris Healy on mandolin, Edgar Meyer on upright bass, and Stuart Duncan is on violin. And the title of this is Quarter Chicken Dark. It seemed like a good summer barbecue kind of song for today's focusing prelude this morning. They'll introduce the song here in the studio.
All right, here's a song called Quarter Chicken Dark.
Also, Bill brought in some beautiful flowers from Ludlow. Echinacea is in that floral arrangement, which again is unusually early in these parts of the country for middle of July. So, thank you, Bill. For our moment of centering silence, let us sit in this open space with open mind and just be here, breath, mind, and body. Our chalice reading this morning is number 458 that we're going to read together. And while you're looking for it, I'd like to invite Terry. Would you come down and light our chalice for us this morning? You're the farthest person away, so that's why I said that.
I believe so, yes.
Hmm. 458. Mindful of truth, ever exceeding our knowledge, and community ever exceeding our practice, reverently coming together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit in an unending quest for wisdom and love. Opening words this morning come from the classic book, Earth, and I've selected one from Rabindranath Tagore. A lot of today's theme is developing around nature. I ask for a moment's indulgence to sit in nature. The works that I have in hand, I will finish afterwards. Away from the sight of nature, my heart knows no rest or respite, and my work becomes an endless toil in a shoreless sea of toil. Today, the summer has come at my window with its sighs and murmurs, and the bees are plying their minstrelsy at the court of the flowering grove. Now it is time to sit quiet, face to face with the natural world, and to sing dedication of life in this silent and overflowing leisure. We're going to sing Be Thou My Vision, which is number 20 in our book. And let us stand as you are able.
All else to be said.
I selected a group reading, number 517. And again, this is a nature reading by Starhawk. I'll read the bold, if you read the italicized. I who am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon among the stars and the mysteries of the waters. For I am the soul of nature that gives life to the universe.
From me all things cease, and unto me they must return.
Let my worship be in the heart that rejoices, for behold, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals.
Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence to thee.
And you who seek to know me, know that your seeking and yearning will avail you not unless you know the mystery.
For that which you seek, you find not within yourself. You will never find it without it.
For behold, I have been with you from the beginning.
And I have that which is begins the end of this life.
So I was looking for an optimistic, hopeful song today, a little upbeat, and I came across this new artist I was not familiar with, named Ray Barbie. And when I went online, the Google search, I said, oh, this must be the wrong guy, because what came up was a skateboardist, a leading skateboard guy from the 1990s, and doing endorsements for sneakers and skateboards. And then as I read on, he's also a musician. So I did have the right guy after all. Ray Barbie is an American skateboarder, photographer, musician, music writer, and multi-instrumentalist from San Jose, California. Bass guitar, drums, harp, and xylophone. And his music has also been featured on NPR and has been used in a number of surfing videos and commercials. And the title of this is Good Hope. So, Matt, if you would be our usher for today. The Fishka is on the back table. Let's give a quick time. So how this works is kind of like an open mic night at the Pulpit Coffee House, but we do it upstairs. Opportunity for people to share readings, poetry, life observations, spontaneous spiritual insights on the spot, which may have occurred from the time you walked in the door, triggered by something that someone said or shared before you. So these are short, they don't even necessarily be long. And we don't need to take a long time this morning. It was 20 minutes until 11. So I'm going to start things off with it's a follow-up from last week's service on impermanence. And this comes from a book that our book discussion group did a couple of years ago, The Razor's Edge by Somerset Maugham. And curiously enough, we were eating dinner Friday night, and Linda, the Razor's Edge book came up in a conversation that she had with one of her students earlier in the day. So how often does Somerset Maugham's name, or based on a Bill Murray movie that came out in the 1990s, The Razor's Edge, it's a reference to the difficulty of the nature of a spiritual journey. It's like walking a razor's edge, requiring focus, careful that you don't get cut or fall off. In the Gospels, the parallel reading would be the straight and narrow way that leads to heaven. So several of you were in this book discussion group, and it was an amazing, it was written right after World War II, 1944, and one of the characters in this, the Bill Murray character, was an airplane pilot from World War I, believe. And it follows his spiritual wanderings after his military experience in the war. And I selected this passage because it was on impermanence. The satisfactions of the world are transitory, and only the infinite gives enduring happiness. Nothing in this world is permanent, and we're foolish when we ask anything to last. But surely we're still more foolish not to take delight in it while we have it. If change is the essence of existence, one would have thought it only sensible to make it the premise of one's philosophy. We can, none of us, step into the same river twice, but the river flows on, and the other river we step into is cool and refreshing too. I will not elaborate with extra comment on the passage, but I think you get the gist. So the microphone has been moved in front of the lectern if you need to set something on it. So please come down, share what you might like, use the microphone, and you can go as long or as short as you want. Good stuff. Looks like you were first, my friend.
It's totally unprepared. It's just this morning I was watching the news and like all this thing about this attempted assassination, which is horrible. And one of the commentators brought up, we can't stop these things, but we can mitigate them. And this word mitigation came up. And it kind of stuck a chord with me because, yes, we can't avoid a lot of things in life, but we can do a lot to prepare and mitigate. We have these new heat pumps. They're not going to be our solution to keep us warm in this thing, but they will help us have another source of energy that will keep us warm when oil or gas doesn't work. We can mitigate and we can have things like that. They said oh, there's going to be a review by the FBI, by the security people, by the sort of three parties. And I said, no, there's going to be another review, and that's by us sitting in the barber chair or sitting at home in our armchairs. And what we can do is try to mitigate in our lives to try to prevent these things. So it's kind of a neat word, and it was just in my head. That's all. Let's just do it. Mitigate.
One more added touch to this. When you did your service a couple of weeks ago, Mary Alice, I'm not sure if you intended to leave one of your magic wands behind.
Yeah.
So we've been using this since you left for various purposes. It works on the energy chime very nicely. So when you finish your comment, take the magic wand and give it a ding. So just go. I'll come to you.
Oh, definitely. Let's do our bit to mitigate.
The wand of your instinct.
I have found that friends are my family. They're a lot more family than my family. So I'm glad that I have my friends to help me through my hardest times. And I'm glad I have found my church that I'm in now because my church is my family. Magic wand.
I think that I want to bring it before. Let's see. Well, I am just days back from the Rock. And during the time that I was at the Rock, I was feeling very glad to be on this island in the North Atlantic versus being in this North American continent in the US of A. And I had known there was all kinds of pulling that would happen, but it became incredibly clear to me as each hour went by that I was in this beautiful place of how much I was needing and being pulled towards the solace of absolute, majestical, amazing beauty. And how comforting that is for someone like me who also wants to be very clear-eyed about what's going on around me. And I want to just share something from a book. It's called On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century. It's by Timothy Snyder, and he wrote it in 2017, and it's been on my table since that time, and I keep reading back, and there are 18 little segments around lessons about tyranny. And this is I'm going to just read a few excerpts on number 18. Be calm when the unthinkable arrives. Modern tyranny is terror management. When the terrorist attack comes, remember that authoritarians exploit such events in order to consolidate power. I'm going to read that one again. When the terrorist attack comes, remember that authoritarians exploit such events in order to consolidate power. The sudden disaster that requires the end of checks and balances, the dissolution of opposition parties, the suspension of freedom of expression, the right to a fair trial, and so on, is the oldest trick in the Hitlerian book. Do not fall for it. And then he goes on, the authoritarians of today are also terror managers. And if anything, they are rather more creative. Consider the current Russian regime so admired by the president. Vladimir Putin not only came to power in an incident that strikingly resembled the Reichstag fire, he then used a series of terror attacks, real, questionable, and fake, to remove obstacles to total power in Russia and to assault democratic neighbors. And then I just want to share at the end that he's talking about. Now remember, this was published in 2017. When the American president speaks of fighting terrorism alongside Russia, what he is proposing to the American people is terror management, the exploitation of real, dubious, and simulated terror attacks to bring down democracy. The Russian recap of the first telephone call between the president and Vladimir Putin is telling. The two men shared the opinion that it is necessary to join forces against the common enemy number one, international terrorism and extremism. James Madison nicely made the point that tyranny arises on some favorable emergency. After the Reichstag fire, Hannah Arendt wrote that, I was no longer of the opinion that one can simply be a bystander.
Tell us about the rock on the altar that you brought back.
Oh, yes. See this beautiful stone? It's an iceberg. And what pulled me to
Use the
Newfoundland.
Use the microphone.
All right. What pulled me, in part, to Newfoundland was icebergs. This is the iceberg I saw. And it is majestically built, beautiful, made of white marble, and I forget what the other stone is, but crafted in Newfoundland. This is a harp that Ira let me use, and he was so happy. He gave it to me. It's called a labradorite, and I'm not saying that quite right. And when I got to a rock shop outside of Gander, and I showed this to the owner, and she immediately got on her little glasses and held it up to the light, and she said, this is not from Labrador. This is not the labradorite. This is from Madagascar. So I had to call and tell that it really wasn't. And what's in this little tiny jar with water is the precious, precious Newfoundland Labrador labradorite.
We have a lot of readings in our hymnal, and I remember hearing this one once, and I don't think I've ever heard it again. So I'm going to read it, and it's by Judy Chicago. And then all that has divided us will merge, and then compassion will be wedded to power. And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle. And then both women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will. And then all will be rich and free and varied. And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will cherish life's creatures. And then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again.
Last summer, my high school girlfriend passed through the area. We're still very good friends despite some technical difficulties about 40-some years ago. But she stopped and visited and saw my mother again several months before her passing. And she had with her her partner, Chris, his name is Christopher Hyde, and both Chris and Joanne had lost spouses sometime in the last several years. And Chris, it turns out, is a Canadian poet and playwright, and we had some great conversations because we knew we knew the same people that I had gone through college with and are now poets in Canada. And I had some of their books from my college year, which I exchanged with Chris. And shortly thereafter, I got this book from him, his most recent collection of poetry, called Before, During, and After. And it is about the loss of his spouse, his wife, who had dementia and died of Alzheimer's. But I wanted to read from it today, not because any part of it is maudlin. I've dog-eared a few things. I lost my dad in '96, and he was 3 years younger than I am now. And I've told other people, young friends, in similar circumstances, you can have a conversation every day. They're not gone. I still talk to my father regularly. And something I like about Chris's book is the poems are really conversations he's having with his wife at the time, and the amazing trick to them, I think, is that you're never quite sure whose voice you're reading. It's a conversation between the two of them. And so I just thought I would read a couple of poems of Chris's. And the first, and this is one of the conversations I was speaking about, is called Surviving Me. Surviving me won't be easy. Not because I'm so special to the world, but to your world, love, I am. Sorry, I'm just being honest here. You forgetting mostly, me remembering for us both. I fear so much, you being alone. And sure, I'd like to live forever, but how can I contrive that? Do I take up jogging? Try to shed every bad habit? I made an appointment with God to discuss a longer life. God would not commit. Figures. So we must go on, as we have, it seems, loving, living, longing to leave together. And another one, and this is, I'm sure, in Chris's voice that I have dog-eared. It's called, I May Have Finally Figured It Out. I may have finally figured it out. I'm the one with the problem. Rest it here a while. Let it wait. I'll try to get over myself. Who I need to talk with most about her is me.
magic wand.
Oh.
Magic wand.
Oh, and I got to treat their nails.
Anyone else? This is last call. Yeah, these are always so great. You never quite know what's going to arrive. Thank you for all shared and for all who took it in and held it for a moment, and we'll carry it with us as we exit today. As we extinguish the chalice, we leave this gathered community, but we do not leave our connection, our concerns, or our care for each other. Our connection continues. Until we are together again, my friends, be strong, be well, be true, be humorous, be loving. So it will be.
We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you'd like to show your support, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and help us out by sharing this message by clicking the share button. If you'd like to make a monetary donation to you, Church Holton, there is a link to our online donations in the video description down below. And again, thank you so much and have a blessed day.